Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Payson. Welcome back to everyone who's already a subscriber to the YouTube channel. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews, including the one coming at you right now. First time guest on the show, about ready to compete for Sprawl in the Burgh 3, hosted by 247 Fighting Championships, April 19th at the Hollywood Casino at the Meadows. Jeremiah Butler. Jeremiah, welcome to the show, sir.
Nice to be here, sir.
It's always great to have first-time guests on the show. I kind of get excited anytime we can have somebody new on. Before we get to the really great double header for 247, people who don't know, you're being a part of Sprawl in the Burgh, which is Friday night, but Brawl in the Burgh, which is MMA, is Saturday night. It's a great back-to-back event. It's just really, really fun. Talk about what got you into jiu-jitsu in the first place. Kind of what is your journey to get into jiu-jitsu and training jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's interesting because in high school, I played football, I did swimming. I was a better swimmer. I was a swimmer. I planned on going to college for swimming. So after our football season ended and stuff like that, I got into swim season. It was like a large gap between football season and swim season. I need something to occupy my time. And my brother at the time, he did jujitsu. So I'm like, why can't I want to do it too? It looked cool. Like at first I thought it was weird. I'm like, you got sweaty people like rolling on the mats and stuff. I thought it was weird. But my first day, I just got beat so bad. And it was to the point where I want to keep doing this. I want to get better. I want to get good. But at first it turned into a hobby, something I just do here and there. But after one of our head instructors, Jeff Mock from 10th Planet Masury, he kind of encouraged me to start competing more. And a lot of people start encouraging me to start competing more and stuff like that. And my first tournament, I got smashed, absolutely smashed. It was unbelievable. I'm like, I'm not competing ever again. But then I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna get good if I just stop competing. So I just kept competing all the way up until I got my blue belt. And that's when I started getting introduced to super fights.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was still getting smashed in super fights, but I just kept training consistently till I eventually start training full time basically. And now I just train a lot and I teach kids jujitsu, fortunately. And I just started getting better and better, focusing on my craft. I cross train a lot. I like to go to Mat Factory, Stout, Next Level in Ohio. I like to go everywhere to get as much training information I can about jujitsu. So yeah, I plan on I never had any aspirations on being a world champion, but after competing at ADCC and getting third in Atlantic City Open, I'm watching people, I'm watching world champions walking right past me. I'm like, I want to be like them. It's just being in their presence. They accomplish so more. They accomplish so much. And in their time in jujitsu, I'm like, I want to be just like them. And hopefully I could fight them one day if they're still in the game back then. But yeah, though, that's one of my goals. I want to be a world champion. Hopefully one day I compete at Worlds this year. Yeah, that's my goal.
Well, that's a great goal. Talk a little bit more about the ADCC Atlantic City Open. You get in third place. Was that an age category and blue belt? Explain a little bit more about that. What was your tournament record? How many wins, how many losses at that tournament, Atlantic City?
At that city, it took place February 10th of this year, and it was an open, and I ended up going 6-1. My first two matches, I won pretty easily, but my third match, I went up against this one dude, a top heavy wrestler. He was his pressure was so heavy. I couldn't do nothing with him. Good dude, probably one of the nicest dudes I ever met in jiu-jitsu. I mean, he's a very good dude, but he was just his pressure was I wasn't prepared for his pressure. And I kind of used that motivation to get me fired up for my third place matches because I won my first two and I lost my third one, which put me in the third place, the losers
Wow.
bracket. So I had to win my way back up to third. And I was there all day. Like it's funny because like my last match ended around like my last match for first. No, yeah, my last match for first ended around like 3, and now I lost that one, and I had to fight my way back up. And that bracket didn't start all the way until like 7 o'clock at night. So I was
Mm.
there. I was there at that hotel, just bored out of my mind. Like I was getting like stiff because I was just sitting there resting all day. And then like when my matches started coming up, I just kind of like just won my way back up. Like I subbed everybody. I don't like winning by points. Like I feel like winning by points is like you gotta get the finish. Like you gotta get the sub. Like that's the philosophy I live by. So yeah, I subbed every person that I went up against except for one person.
Well, a 6-1 record at that open is really great, high level. You're wearing a sub only shirt that I believe is the Good Fight, which is a known Pennsylvania based jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
tournament. Really, really cool background on that. So, what's your thoughts on the Jacob Fenton? How did this come together? Were you looking for a super fight coming off the 6-1? You know, that's 7 matches in what, 2 days? So, what do you think the attraction is to do just one in a super fight?
Oh, I mean, cause it's kind of crazy because after my Atlantic City, I know it's kind of off topic, but
Oh,
like
it's fine.
after the Atlantic City, I did the Arnold, which I got first place. And like I'm a blue belt, by the way. And like I like to compete. I like to compete against people heavier and like much more like skilled than me. Like I like to test myself against purple belts. So like for that time, like I mean, I didn't compete heavy this time because like the next bracket up from 200 was like I think 230. So I just cut down to 185, and I ended up going undefeated with all subs as well. So like and like after that, I think Hunter or I forgot who runs that account. They messaged me like a week later asking me if I want to like fight Jacob Fenton. I was like, hey, I'll fight him. Hopefully it'll be a good match because they messaged me saying that he's gonna have to cut down. I'm like, hey, I'll fight him where he's at now. Like weight doesn't usually I mean, weight doesn't
Right.
usually play a good
It's
part
a
with me.
little less. And that's kind of what jiu-jitsu was created for. That's what the Gracie showed in the early UFC when there weren't any weight. It was kind of like the perfect martial arts for that, where there originally weren't any weight classes, then they came up with big weight classes. Now, of course, they're down about every 10 pounds. Uh, it's a great opportunity for people that if they're a competitor, even in jiu-jitsu or MMA, you really need to go to 247 Fighting on Facebook or their online, 247fighting.com, and sign up. They have different accounts depending on if you're a coach or if you're a fighter. I believe Jim Mooney, who's the legendary matchmaker, Hunter Homestek, who's the GM, and Ryan Middleton are the only three that use that. That's their official account. So if you're getting message through that account, that's the official. Whoever it is, it's usually Jim and Hunter. I'm sure Ryan jumps in there too. He's the owner, but yeah, you don't always know. But it's those three guys, to my understanding. Um, you've mentioned several times that you really like getting the submission, not even going to a decision. This is a sub only super match, for 247. What is your thought on it's usually either a 6 minute or 8 minute, sometimes 10 minutes, but I think you're probably 6 or 8. Do you know how long your match is? I know it'll be submission only, but they tweak it depending on the agreement and contract, things like that.
Like my opinion, like honestly, I prefer like to be longer. I like longer matches, like because like if it's like a 6 minute match, like I roll 6 minute rounds at my gym all the time. Like it's like it goes by so quick. But like, I'd rather do longer matches. So I'm kind of hoping. I'm not sure how long my matches are for this one. I gotta check and see. But I'm kind of hopeful that it's 8 minutes.
All right, well, check and see. I don't know. I'm not privy to that. But check and see. I do know that that would already be agreed upon in your contract or whatever communication. So go back and see. I've been doing this for Sprawl and the Burgh. I know that it's typically either 6, 8, or 10. 10 is super rare. That's like if it's the top end professionals. I do think it's more likely that you're 6. Maybe they moved everybody to 8. I don't really know. Maybe it's still something that's probably agreed upon. You can always reach out and see kind of what the game plan is for your length. Super great. Do you want to make a prediction for this match versus Jacob Fenton on April 19th?
Prediction. That's kind of hard. I mean, like it's gonna be a tough one. Like I like match. I mean, I'm hoping it'll be a tough match. I don't like easy matches. Like I rather work for like I want to come out that cage like fight like oh dang like I'm tired. I want to come out there like knowing that I did some work. Like I don't want like an easy sub. Like I don't want an easy sub at all. I want to work for every sub, every position I get. I want to work for. So I'm used to like playing like my style. I like to play bottom game. I'm a really bottom game type of person. But like for this one, I might focus on being top heavy. Like just like wrestling. This I hate wrestling. I absolutely can't stand it. But like I'm gonna do wrestling this time.
Well,
That's
you
my
do whatever works for you. There are in this Sprawl in the Burgh, we have seen a lot of the leg entanglement bottom game, like the not that we've had Ryan Hall, but the Ryan Hall types. We've had Dante Leone, obviously Super Nicky Rod. I mean, who they've had compete is the absolute Max somebody who's really,
Hampton.
really yeah, who's really, really great.
Yeah.
And a lot of bottom heavy. That's the difference between jujitsu and maybe MMA, that type of stuff. So be as be as natural as what your no-gi jiu-jitsu wants to be. So if you want to be, there are people that pull guard. There's people that do sort of very much the leg entanglement, bottom game stuff. So you do whatever. Don't feel like you have to change it. You are not. It's unlike Naga. You're not going for points. There's no points. If it runs out of time, it won't end in draw. It'll be decided by. So far, it's been a one person deciding it. Usually, they have two high level jiu-jitsu guys, one being the referee, one being the judge, and they flip flop. That's what they've been doing so far. There's talk that at some point they might go for a judge panel like in MMA where you have three, just to just be able to get different views. But I believe unless it's changed, if it goes to a decision, it will be like a one person making that decision. Just like in MMA, you will have a fighters meeting. That's a really great opportunity to ask. You can always ask whoever's on that account, Jim, Hunter, or Ryan. To my knowledge, what has been said before is the scoring criteria for the judge is very specific to sub only no-gi. So it's much more, it's not really about if you put your knee on it, you get 2 points, or if you turn them, you get 2 points, like in no-gi, where you can do it like wrestling, where it's tick, tick, tick. It's much more, they look at the whole match and they look for who was more willing to engage for submissions. You could ask them more, I'd get that clarified, but I was told as part of the production team, an announcer, that they were really looking for initiation of submission, near submissions. Of course, if there's a completed submission, then there's no scoring. But that does mean that we have seen matches where a wrestler was super wrestler top heavy, kind of like the control, position control, and lost due to the bottom guy being more jujitsu focused. So definitely clarify that. I think I'm right. I was involved in the two previous to this one, and I believe that's more what they're looking for, because it is much more of the jiu-jitsu world, and it's a much different crowd. The crowd that comes will be very excited about anything jiu-jitsu heavy. So people get involved in 50-50, or they do this or that. The jiu-jitsu crowd knows what's going on. If that same situation would happen in MMA crowd typically more looks for some of the more obvious MMA stuff, although the crowd's becoming much more educated as 247 does more and more and more events. It's been really great having you on. I mean, it's always awesome to have new people on. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, though, talk a little bit about training, and I think you said coaching at 10th Planet Masury, which is between Ohio and Pennsylvania. 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu is known for Eddie Bravo. That's his chain, his style. What do you like about 10th Planet, and what's the coaching experience like for you there?
I mean, like, I never really got to coach like the adults class, but I teach the I help coach the kids and the teens class, and what I learned from teaching them and like helping like the other my other instructor Kenny Robinson, because we both like help teach, like learning from him and like how he teach the kids, like it kind of like give me insight on like what I should be doing. Like it kind of like trying to find the definition or like the fundamentals. Like we do a lot of fundamentals with the kids. Like, and when I first started training jujitsu, like I really didn't like start with the fundamentals. So it was like a lot of holes in my game that I was missing, and like learning like teaching the kids something that like when Kenny drills on me, I'm like, oh, maybe I should start doing this in my game. Like, yeah, it just kind of like it adds more fundamentals in my game. Like teaching them, I'm also teaching myself at the same time.
Sure, makes perfect sense. That's one of the reasons why coaches typically start out teaching the fundamentals, the kid classes. And even though it might seem like, oh, you already know this stuff, when you teach it to a kid, a lot of time kids have to learn it over and over and over again. Then you're learning it over and over again. Sometimes by explaining it to somebody else, you learn something that maybe you haven't picked up just because, that's how brains work. We sometimes learn differently. So really cool. 10th Planet obviously has an incredible name recognition. Gracie has a great name recognition as well, but 10th Planet is, from my understanding, 10th Planet is much more geared towards, I'm sure they do gi, but it's a lot of no-gi stuff because I believe Eddie Bravo was much of a no-gi guy. And that's what's cool about this organization. We only do, at least they only, as of now, they're moving into the venue. Who knows what they'll do? I know that they've teased it. I have no inside information. You can follow 247 Fighting on Facebook page that they're taking over a venue and they're going to have a brick and mortar building here in July or August. It's going to do jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. I think they said pro wrestling and pretty much anything that's within the world. So maybe they'll do some gi stuff. I don't know, but super cool. They might even do what would be like a funny sumo. That's it. Maybe they'll
Oh
do
yeah.
some sumo. I don't know what else. There's, oh, you know what? I bet Ryan would. An arm wrestling event would be
Oh,
fantastic.
that
Arm
would be
wrestling
dope
is
though.
legit. They do big stuff, and that's going to be a huge venue. One of the things that Ryan Middleton, the owner of 247, has announced is that when they were talking about the venue, is that some of the venue stuff will be 247. Like 247 will be running a lot, obviously MMA, jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
Muay Thai, some of that. But as far as pro wrestling, they might do their own. They might bring somebody in. Arm wrestling would be more. I'm just excited because that would be cool to be like, oh, like. And if
Yeah, that looks
nobody's watched the
dope.
1980s movie Over the Top by with Sylvester Stallone in it, where he's a truck driver learning to be an arm wrestling champ, it's a great flick. You should watch it. It's really
I'm
quite good.
gonna check it out.
You should. Over the Top. Back in the maybe late 80s, early 90s, Sylvester Stallone. It's pretty hammy, like it's pretty ridiculous, but it's still great. And arm wrestling is pretty legit. But all that to say, can't wait to see you in action April 19th for Sprawl in the Burgh 3 247 Fighting Championship. Get your tickets either through 247fighting.com from Jeremiah Butler himself, or if you're going to be doing the pay-per-view, download the app 247 live from any of the app stores, and then you can get either the pay-per-view or the year subscription. The year subscription comes with every pay-per-view plus the entire catalog of grappling and jiu-jitsu, grappling and MMA. Thanks so much for coming on the show. You've been listening to Luke Payson with special guest, first-time guest on the show, Jeremiah Butler. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
You got it, buddy. My honor. See you April 19th.